Welcome back to AM Northwest. A bad boss can really suck the life out of an otherwise fantastic job. Here to share a few things that you can do to rectify the situation without quitting, we welcome back career strategist and professional brand expert, Dr. Carol Parker Walsh. And we're laughing because Steve Denary, my boss, says this segment's about him.
I know, and I assured him I'm sure it wasn't. He told me that everyone around the station said that they had nothing to do with this title or topic.
So you say one of the things is know how you like to work.
Yeah, so listen, everyone wants to feel trusted, valued, respected, and acknowledged for doing a great job. And if they have, a difficult boss, it can be really challenging to, make even a job that you love really effective. So it's important that, people figure out how to manage themselves and manage the situation. And the first thing you have to do if you want to avoid, managing a bad boss, you want to not have one to begin with.
Yeah.
And that means, knowing how you like to work. So a lot of times when people go after jobs or positions, they're so enthralled with the job, the title, the money, that they pay no attention to the people and the environment that they're going to be working. So know how you like to work. Do you like a lot of supervision? Do you like a little supervision? Do you want open communication? Do you want to have an opportunity to be creative and innovative in the work that you do, but you have a boss or an environment that's saying, no, we want you just to kind of follow the tasks and just check the boxes and do what we asked you to do. It's really important for you to know that information about yourself so you don't put yourself in a situation that will be really challenging.
Yeah.
Studies have shown that people don't leave, bad jobs. They really leave bad managers. But you want to be clear first and foremost.
Absolutely. Know your boss's motivations.
Yes, this is the other thing that's really important. Know what drives them. Like, what is important to them? What do they care about? What are they stressed over? That can really be helpful. Sometimes, if a boss is micromanaging, it's because they're getting a lot of pressure from above that's saying, they need to come up with some numbers to justify their existence or even the department's existence. So maybe they're trying to hold on to your job and other jobs. So the stress of the may come from the micromanaging. And so if that's the case, figure out what you can do to be supportive. Or maybe if they're not involved, they're, kind of under supervising you where they're kind of stepped off someplace, figure out what that's about and to see if it's because, maybe they're struggling with, keeping up or they're overwhelmed. And so what can you do? What are some of their challenges or weaknesses that you can help to support so that you can function more like a team as opposed to combatives?
Right. But you don't want to try to fix them, right?
No, listen, I always tell people the only person that you can control is yourself.
Right.
So what you don't want to do is to let a bad boss behavior impact how you do your job, that you slack or you start to kind of act out or you become really frustrated because of the situation that you're in. So then everything becomes about what it feels like they're doing to you as opposed to you focusing on why you're there to begin with. Now, I want a caveat to say that if your manager is engaging in illegal practices or discriminatory behavior or really impacting your ability to do your job, not allowing you to do your job.
Yeah.
I mean, these are really serious issues. And so you don't want to be bullied and you want to always work in integrity.
Sure.
So it's not to say that, right? So, but if they're, doing some things that are more of an irritant or not really the way you would like to do it, then focus on the role, focus on you always staying in integrity and doing your best work and not letting their behavior really impact your behavior.
You say to get super clear on the roles, responsibilities, and expectations.
Yes, this is now usually when you come in, you have these conversations about what you're going to be doing, what are the roles. They give you kind of, key performance indicators that you need to follow, some KPIs. But sometimes expectations aren't always communicated. And by that, I mean, sometimes your manager had your job and they did it a particular way. So now that you're in, they expect you to do it just like they did it.
Right.
Or they have an idea of what you should be doing or the way you should do your job. And you're doing it completely differently. Or you're bringing in new ways and new things to do. I remember I had that experience where I stepped into a leadership position that was previously occupied, and the person just struggled with the way I was doing my role because it wasn't the way they did it. And so we constantly would butt heads because I would get these tips that I would be given when it really was like, do it my way.
Yeah.
So have a clear conversation about, listen, how do you expect me to do this position? Here's what I'm thinking, and how can we make sure we stay on the same page? Because that's not the way I work.
Right.
But the roles and responsibilities and the goals and the outcomes will definitely meet those. So you need to have a conversation to get clear around that, because sometimes that's the biggest issue, is that the expectations of how you do the role haven't been communicated.
I would think too, though, sometimes you have to know when to say enough is enough and leave.
Yes, there comes a time. Listen, as I said, don't be bullied, stand up for yourself, work in integrity. And if it gets to a place, as I said, where it's severe and it's really causing you some emotional harm. I mean, I used to be an employment attorney, and I would have clients that would be in tears, would be losing their hair, would just be subjected to some really horrible situations where I'd have to go in and defend them or sue the organization. And so when it gets to that place, life is too short. So
Right.
leave. You need to walk away. But you can also, while you're there, file the complaint, talk to the HR department, but don't just go and say, oh, my boss is treating me horribly. Do some due diligence of first having a conversation with your boss, trying to fix and negotiate the situation, and then coming with some documented information and evidence about how this is really impacting your work, so that the people in the organization, HR, whomever, can really step in and maybe help to give your boss some additional coaching and training, which has happened, or to maybe move you into a different part of the organization so that you can really be more effective if it's a place that you feel like you really want to stay.
Important information. Carol, thank you so much, Dr. Carol Parker Walsh.